Hi, Rachel Mead here, President and founder of Enhanced Prep. Thanks for joining me today while we take a look at this ACT math-based question. Now, this is a number 42, and remember that the questions in the math section are arranged in approximate order of difficulty, which means question number 1 is designed to be the easiest. Question number 45 is designed to be the hardest. Now, there's different things that can make a question hard. Sometimes it's hard math. Sometimes it's something a little bit more abstract or random we have to have memorized. Sometimes there's a lot of computation that we have to do here. Now, this question is actually going to deal with the law of sines. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop in your formula, your equation, your process for finding the law of sines. And what happens here is it tells us that we can use any pair that we want in our triangle of the side and the angle opposite it and set it equal to any one of the other pairs. So in this case, it says that I'm going to take side A and set it over my sine of angle A, and that's going to be equal to side B over the sine of my angle B. And we're going to use our law of sines in times when we do not have right triangles in place. So it might seem like, well, can't I just use my Pythagorean or some other things that I know that way? And we really can't here because we don't have those right angles. So instead, I need to pay closer attention to what I do have in the question. So let's come through and let's analyze this as we go. Let's see what we're looking for. Remember, in long word problems, we can start by reading the question at the end because that's telling us what we're supposed to find. So I need to find the height of my string. Everything else I need is in my graphic down here rather than needing to spend any time reading it within my question. So I'm going to jump straight into my graphic. And I know that my sine of my angle opposite my string is going to be 30. So I'm going to call this x. And so the first fraction I'm going to write is sx over sine of 30. Now I need to set that equal to another pair. Now I have my angle of 105, but I don't have the side opposite it. I do, however, have this side down here, 320. But you're like, Rachel, you don't have the angle opposite it. You're right, but I know how to find that angle because we remember that the three angles within a triangle are always going to be equal to 180 degrees. So I can say 180 minus my 105 is going to put me at 75, minus my 30 is going to put me at 45. So I know this angle up here is 45 degrees. And now I have another full pair of the angle and the side opposite it that I can set up for my other ratio. And so I'm going to say my side of 320 over my sine of 45. Now, just a reminder, anytime we have a fraction that equals a fraction, we want to come through and cross multiply in order to clear out our fractions. And I'm just going to leave these values as they are for right now while I work on simplifying my equation. But I know x sine 45 is going to be equal to 320 times sine 30. Now, some of you might be familiar with working with your unit circle where you know sine 30, you know sine 45. If you're taking the test digitally, you can find those values using the Desmos app. If you're taking it pencil and paper, you've got your own graphing calculator that you can quickly plug these into. But I know to solve for x, I'm going to come through and I'm going to divide by sine of 45. So how am I plugging this into my calculator? I take 320 parentheses sine 30, find that value, and then divide by my sine of 45. And what you're going to get here is you're probably going to get a funky decimal, right? And that's totally fine. But what that does do is it helps us understand that it's not going to be C and it's not going to be A. All right, so then you can come through and you can say, well, based upon the decimal that I do get, in case you did not set up those values to be exact, you can come through and you can approximate based upon the rest of your answers. So I'm going to show you what I get when I plug this in. So we take 320 times the sine of 30. And for that top part, I'm getting 160. Now I'm going to divide that by my sine of 45. So let's find out what the sine of 45 is. It's a funny decimal that's about 0.7. Okay, so then when I do that math of 160 divided by zero point 0.7, I know I'm getting something bigger than 160, aren't I? Let's see what we get. We get 228 0.57 if I'm not working with the radicals from my unit circle. So now I need to say, of my two answer choices, which one of those is going to be closer to 228.7? Again, you can plug these into your calculator. You can take that square root of 2, which is about 1.4, and multiply it by 160, and you will see indeed that our answer choice is B. Answer choice D is getting way too big for us. Now again, remember that on the ACT math, you do not have any reference information. So if you do not have your law of sines memorized, there is no way you're going to be able to get through this question correctly. Go get your points. We'll see you soon.